May peace be upon you. Welcome to the Secret Voice podcast and this mini-series on seeking spiritual truth. A lot of people say they're looking for the truth. However, when I talk to religious people, I notice something. Everyone thinks their specific path is the ultimate way. The problem is most people don't start at the beginning. We begin with the faith we were born into, with the book or tradition handed down to us. And we rarely question if that is truly the beginning and complete foundation. I'm your host, Hebrew Lotus, and today's episode is Leaving Religion, Embracing Torah. This is where my journey begins. Let's start with the idea of one. One is definite. You cannot have two without one, or three without one. In the spiritual sense, this concept is the foundation of all understanding. Think of it as the first building block. Without it, nothing else can stand. There are three major Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Judaism begins with Torah, but adds the Old Testament, forming the Tanakh and then the Talmud. Christianity begins with the New Testament, Islam with Quran. But all three point back to the Torah. For me, a pivotal moment began when I stopped focusing on the modifications and interpretations layered over time and the ideals that came with it. The Torah is the beginning, the foundation, needing no other text to validate its origin. And I realized that if I wanted truth, real truth, I had to start there. So, what is the difference between religion and Torah observance? Organized religion adds, removes, and distorts, which is a thing not ought to be done. I began to notice something in my search for truth. Judaism, the religion I had always associated with Torah, actually grew out of the tribe of Yehuda, just one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Over the centuries, layer upon layer of tradition, rules, and interpretations were placed on top of the original word, until it was hard to see the source clearly. Then I looked outward. Christianity and Islam also pointed to the Torah, but I realized they began in the middle of the stream. They carried pieces of its essence, yet the Torah itself was infinite and complete, needing nothing to validate it. I asked myself, have I been following water that's already downstream, missing the spring where it all began? Am I content with fragments, or do I want the whole truth? I had to step beyond religion and return to the origin. I had to embrace the Torah itself. This realization revealed that to pursue truth, one must first learn the art of unlearning, a willingness to set aside the inherited doctrines and familiar narratives that frame our understanding. We must approach the world as if for the first time, with a mind unburdened. Too often, our journey begins where our tradition tells us the story begins, mistaking that point for the origin itself. Yet, the essence of wisdom lies not in the middle of the stream, but at its source, where all waters are simple, clear, and pure. Life is short. We live a mortal life, maybe 100 years if we're blessed and fortunate. 100 years feels long, yeah, but it passes in an instant. And while some dismiss the idea of judgment, of God, of ultimate accountability, ask yourself the ultimate question. If there is a judgment day and the Most High is real, which side are you on? Are you basking in worldliness and wickedness, or seeking righteousness and holiness? Seek good, be positive, and just. On the day of judgment, if it shall arise, may Elohi surround you with his mercy. May El Elyon open the gates of his heavenly abode and welcome you with love. May the ill-compassionate, ill-faithful, and ill-devoted accept you and hold you close, granting your soul eternal peace in his light. Because in the end, there is no L but one. My challenge to you today is simple. Look at your spiritual practice. Are you following a system that started with step 2 or step 3? Or are you willing to go back to the very beginning? To the truth seekers, the lost, and the bewildered of heart, be strong and courageous. There is a deeper purpose than the idol worship and the false reality of the world around us. Remember, sin is crouching at your door and his desire is for you. Do not fall into the traps of the Balfour, the Molech, the Yetzer Hara, the adversary. Watch yourself carefully. Thank you for joining me on this first step of the journey. In our next episode, we'll dive deeper into what it actually looks like to seek Elohim with all of your heart. If this episode inspired you, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss the next step of the journey. And I love to hear from you. Share your own spiritual origin story in the comments, and let's explore this path together. Until then, stay open, stay righteous, and keep seeking the truth.